Right, so all of the deck hardware is coming off today. I'm wearing these fetching gloves to try and stop getting blisters on my palms, which I regularly do when we're doing a lot of screw work. Wifey's inside, mole gripping the nuts that are inside the hull. And there's a camera over there that's going to record everything. So we'd better crack on. I'm right at the pointy end of the boat. We're removing all the deck hardware piece by piece. We've done the fender cleats on the starboard side, and now we're doing the handrails and the various other miscellaneous bits and bobs that are stuck on the front. Done the chain roller already, and now I'm just doing the boss, which is bolted in there. I've already removed one nut has come out. Hopefully that'll come out. There's 3 more to do, so I'm going to do my usual trick of gaffer taping mole grips on the inside and then undoing the screw from the outside. So there'll be footage from other cameras. Oh, it's so hot. I've undone all 4 screws now. There they are. So this should, great, here we go. You can see underneath the original gel coat colour, which is much better than that. So the mission for the next week or so is going to be to find that right colour. Isn't it lovely? The wifey has just arrived with lunch, McDonald's lunch, so we will have a little break.
It's tabbed on the inside down the bottom.
Okay.
You can't get in to cut it from the other side.
Okay.
But for now,
Go on, you can do it. That's my girl. There. Easy. Oh, that was easy.
you see how well fitted it was?
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous.
That's what you want. Probably gives quite a bit of structure on as well. But that's fine. Neither plaster will solve it all.
Yeah, we just have to cut the last bit of it out there.
Well,
When the time comes.
That'll be an angle grinder and sanding pad job.
Yeah.
Well done. So here's Wifey. Wifey's been terribly naughty today, as we showed inside, removing that chain locker bulkhead. And we've removed as much of the deck hardware as we can for today, including a few of these, but these ones are stuck. And under that tape there you can see the original gel coat colour, which is much more vivid, and that's what we're going to be going for. Try and match that colour as best we can. There's going to go along all of the side decks, the forward deck here. And on the hard top, it's going to be that nice vivid cyan turquoise. So tomorrow we'll come back and remove the rest of the deck hardware. Remove the cleats for the fenders along that side. So this is top side above the waterline wise. This is quite an important stage because we're getting towards the point where we need to order the gel coat to go on here, along there. And also tomorrow, wifey will be putting a few layers of glass under this deck because it is alarmingly springy. And we don't want that, we want it nice and firm, so we'll be reinforcing that. I might be removing this tomorrow to reinforce that as well, or at least pack it out underneath so we don't have this awful lip here, which seems to be a variable height. It does seem to be slightly problematic. That was where the mast was. Really glad that that's gone, and there was a kind of knackered mount for a spotlight there. The cabling on this though, as I was mentioning earlier, is mains flavoured rather than black and red, which I would always prefer, because then there's no debate about, hold on, is blue positive or is brown positive or what is it, who knows. Always very irritating, but we're making progress. We can see much more of how we want things to be and how to get there. So tomorrow we'll be doing all this work and grinding that sort of stuff out down there, those stress cracks, loads of them. And there's a few around here, there's a load of them there, but we'll grind them out and we'll get some resin in, and then we'll think about ordering the gel coat and stuff and redoing this awful things here, these awful things here with white. So we'll knock all that right the way back and get thickened gel coat in there and in there. We need to fill these holes because we've removed these, get rid of the last bit of this primer that's on here. The repairs that we did to this last year have stood up beautifully. Really pleased with that. The line is pretty much perfect. But when we get that fresh gel coat on, can you imagine how that's going to look? That will be spectacular. When it's clean and waxed and polished. Superb, and we'll replace that awful piece of wood as well with a fabric canopy. Lots of things to do then, isn't it, darling?
Yes.
And we're going to come back and do some of them tomorrow. So have a nice evening, everybody. Here we are, Sunday morning. I'm up on the top side. Wifey's down in the cabin. We're removing these screws. There's wifey. Woo. Ah, so sweet. Right, well, we're going to cover this with as many cameras as is reasonable. Thank you. As many cameras as is reasonable. So hopefully we'll be able to show you something fun. But the whole of this forward deck should be cleared and 3 or 4 layers of glass laid up underneath it by the end of today. So let's get going. Okay, it's balancing. Just about. I could do the last bit one-handed. Oh. Right, screw it all back in. We've got to go again. Got to do another take. It's got to go somewhere. Oh, I'm going to stop filming for a second. Positively terrifying development for anybody who wants to work on the forward deck. We've now removed everything apart from that damn claw cleat, which wifey's cleaning the screws underneath, and we've got one more screw to get this one out. We're going to have to come up with another plan. We've been using screwdrivers with wrenches above and mole grips below, but it just, yeah, we'll get there in the end. But now it's coffee break time. So poor hot wifey, stuck in her Tyvek as usual, doing the glass work. It's just cut 2 sheets of structured and 2 sheets of chopped. That is going to go on the underside of this here forward deck, which is, the underside has been scrubbed and sponged and acetoned, made it as clean as I can. So we're just going to have a quick coffee break, and then wifey's going to lay it up, literally up, upside down up. So lay it down, I suppose. I don't know. No, well, we'll see. So here we are. It's been a lot of effort today. It's really difficult to lay glass on a ceiling. I found that actually if you put some resin up and let it start going off, so it's very, very sticky, then you can get the mat up and then roll more resin onto it. It's not a bad job. There's a couple of bits going to need grinding out and redoing because we've got crystally lumps in the resin, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not strictly speaking structural, it's just to stiffen the forward deck up a little bit. We're going to give it another sort of, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to finish setting up, and then we will go and test on the outside. As you can see through the window here, we managed to get this handrail off, but not this one. That screw down there just will not disengage from the nut. It won't turn while the nut is held fast. So I just chucked another screw back in there just to hold it in place. That should be sufficient. And we've still got to do those the mooring cleats on the front as well. Really exhausting day. It's been really hot, really stinky. We're very itchy from all the glass, but it's another job that's at least partially complete. So here we go. We're going to test the fruits of today's work. The forward deck, the wifey. What do you think?
It used to flex much more.
Oh, it's still too soft though, isn't it?
Yeah, we should probably do the other
Yeah. So here we are on board once again. Beautiful sunny day. It's always a sunny day when we're here. It's fantastic, isn't it? I've just finished sanding off hardtop, cleaning it off, giving it a quick wash, and I was about to start painting it with our spanky new coloured gel coat, but I noticed there are still some bits that need filling. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to mix up some thickened colour gel coat as a filler to patch these little holes, let that set up for half an hour, and then slap a couple of coats of gel coat on. It's coming on for 5:30, I think, 5:45. So we've got a couple of hours of sunlight left. The temperature's about, I'm going to say 22, 23 degrees, so that's pretty much perfect. So apart from the wind, everything is in our favour. So I'm going to go and mix some coloured gel coat filler. Oh well, blimey, hello folks, sorry about the red schnoz, but I've just had my vapour mask on because look at that blue. My god, it really is 70s 60s baby blue. Now this is 2 coats of gel coat. I'm going to let it set up for about half an hour, by which time the sun will have moved around, and then I'm going to slap on a quick coat with some waxing styrene mixed in. It really just does set up quite quickly, and there's going to be a lot of sanding after this, so I do need it to cure overnight. I'll come back and knock it back nice and flat tomorrow. But it's an absolutely astoundingly beautiful colour. And the whole boat, or all of the faded old section, you see the difference there? Isn't that incredible? It's going to look beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Really pleased with it. So I'm sorry I didn't film it, but I'm single-handed today, and most of it was sanding, which is very, very boring. And then it was wiping off with acetone, which I'm sure you've seen me or other people do before, and then it was just painting, which, you know, painting large areas of gel coat is no laughing matter, and this was a little bit terrifying because I've never painted this amount of gel coat before, but I think it looks fantastic. So I will update when I've put the gel coat with wax on in the next hour or so. So toodle poodles. Another absolutely beltingly hot day. It's 30 degrees and close to 40 in the cabin. so I've got plenty of drinks and stuff knocking around. But today is polishing paper day. I have in my hand a pack of various grits from 400 all the way up to 3000, which hopefully should take us to a finish on this. I do have to apply another coat of flow coat on that far edge, but I'm not going to do that until I've polished the rest. It's too hot to do flow coat, it's far too hot. So, the usual drill: start rough, go fine. Just need to check to see how many sheets of each I've got. 1, 2. So looks like I've got 3 sheets of each, yeah. So that's good. Yeah, all the way up to 3000. Beautiful. So, I have my spray bottle of water. I have a can of pop, sandpaper, and I have a rough finish hard top. So, I'll put you in time-lapse mode and we'll see how we get on. Well, after about 15 minutes of sanding with 400, we're still not quite down to the level. It's probably another 5-10 minutes of sanding just to get the last bits down. So I'm now thinking I should be doing this by machine. Yeah, so I'm going to go and get some 400 grit sander pads with our beloved Makita and knock this back hopefully in about half an hour for the whole thing, maybe a little bit longer. But it's a good start. It's a good start. Oh, 30 degrees. And then some. It's absolutely astoundingly hot yet again. In some ways we're blessed, in some ways we're cursed. But today, being Monday, the Monday after we did the hard top, I've spent most of the day sanding this back. It's a very, very long job. Very long and finicky and fiddly job. I've tried doing it by hand, I've tried doing it by machine, and it's just, you just got to keep grafting. I reckon this is going to take me about 3 days to knock back flat, and that's without polishing it. So we may have to alter our strategy somewhat, but I will film something more proper at the end of the day. It's coming on to 5 o'clock now. I reckon I've got about another hour and a half I can work for, so I better crack on. Well, it's been a moderately disappointing day. I've managed to get the hard top knocked back on top at least. Haven't done the sides, and there's a couple of patches that I'm going to need to put some more gel coat on, but in order to cheer myself up and give myself some sort of hope that we'll be able to make progress, I did work my way through the fine grit papers up to 3000. And you actually get a decent-ish shine. So what I thought I'd do is to run the polishing pads over it with my set of polishes, just to see if we can get some sort of indication of how it's going to turn out when eventually we get everything together and work out the best way to do everything. So I'm going to set up now. I've just washed it off, so I'm good to go. So I'll put the camera on the tripod and you can watch me buffing away. So cut first. It's nowhere clean. Never mind, it's only an experiment. Alright, so heavy stuff first. Just not too much gel coat dust coming out. So let's get some of this compound on here. This is the first product we bought to do this, so I'm sure there are better ones out there. It's gone absolutely everywhere. Now we will wipe that off. Some of our favourite emergency toilet paper. Just to be sure, let's wash it off properly. So I don't want cutting compound mixed in with the finer polish. Now we move on to heavy polishing pad. Ink. Just the white one. Clean. So it's clean coloured. Well, I'm going to try this without compound because the compound is a pain in the teeth. Okay, so it's I think going to be worth putting a little wax on, just so we know what the whole package does for us. And again, I'm going to just run this over without any wax on. And this is the softest, finest pad that I have, so we have to do something special to make it look better than it is. There's still the wax from the last experiment, so I do need to put some more on. Very sparing. And then I've got to polish it. I suddenly remember a fine felt official Makita polishing pad. So I will go and grab that and chuck it on. I'll be back momentarily. So this is now officially very exciting. Pop this on here. We'll start it nice and low. see. I mean, it's not horribly wonky. There are low spots. They look almost like structural low spots. But anyway, I will take you around the other side so you can see the reflection. We'll compare it to the other side, which I haven't polished. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Right over here. This is sanded with 400 grit. Not dreadful, not the worst thing you'll ever see in a boatyard. But if we come around to the other side, this is the cleaned and polished. Let's see if I can. Oh, now I've just got dirty finger marks all over the wax, but that probably means something, doesn't it? It probably means it's not polished enough. Yeah, there's a bit of raw wax there. I'll buff that out again in a sec. But I mean, there's still lots to learn, and there are still scratches and stuff, but for a first go, you know, I just wish there was something I could get a nicer reflection of. The clouds aren't cooperating or anything, and there's nobody else there here to stand in front of it. But it's not bad. Guess what? It's a boiling hot day again today. Whew! So I'm just in the process of clearing out under the boat. Just got all this rubbish out from under here because I'm going to start sanding the underside of the hull. The boat's going to be moved tomorrow, or possibly the day after. So I'm not going to stay here too long because it is just cripplingly hot. But I have some props and chocks that we put in ourselves to be removed. And then I will crawl underneath with our sander and a mask and some goggles and start stripping the muck off. Why do we do it to ourselves? I have absolutely no idea. Wish. Spanky hot day again, folks. I'm on the shaded side of the boat and I have been making progress. I'll just rotate around slightly and hopefully you can see working the side of the hull. And still this section needs work and all the way along, but I'm reasonably hopeful actually I can get this finished today, and then I'm going to pop up top and do some white gel coat filling when the sun's moved around a little bit more. I did some scraping on the very bottom of the boat, and it's going to be a lot of work. It's about, I'm going to say 3 inches too low to really be able to sand it properly with the machine. So I don't know how we're going to approach that. It needs to be a bit higher up. But we're being moved tomorrow now, so hopefully we can cross that bridge when we get to it tomorrow. So I'm going to set up a time lapse on this so that you can watch me part wet, part dry sanding this back to shape. Just getting rid of the high spots. Low spots I'm going to refill either later today or tomorrow. So hey. End of the day on Tuesday. I've just finished repatching the port side hull. Still a couple of bits. As always, after filling there's going to be some sanding. I think I've got most of the scratches and dings all the way to the bow, above the chines anyway. Below the chine needs a lot more work, but it is way too hot. Every time I mix resin it goes hard before I'm done using it. It's taken me 4 attempts to get all this stuff done. I don't think I shall be here tomorrow because it's going to be hot again, and all the work that I need to do is resin work. And also we have a delivery coming of some styrene, which we're going to use to thin our gel coat so we can tip and roll, or roll and tip. So hopefully that will give us a smoother finish. But the hardtop is still looking good. It's been too hot to be right on the top of the boat today. I've spent all day on the port side in the shade. Now I'm walking down the boatyard because we now know where we're going to be moving to, and that's going to happen on Monday next week now, because there's a lot going on in the yard, and also Thursday and Friday it looks like there's a pretty good chance of some pretty heavy storms, and moving heavy loads about when it's wet is never safe. But we are going to be right here, right in the corner next to this gorgeous little fishing boat. I've been chatting to the guy who owns it, who's working on it, really nice guy. So looking forward to being his neighbour, and we've got a nice close power point, and there's some water over there as well, and a couple of boats that are being worked on by some very nice people who we've spoken to before. So looking forward to actually getting shifted, and the chief yardsman, who's a very nice guy who I spend a lot of time talking to, is going to make sure that the boat is a little bit higher. So as I said earlier, I spent some time under the boat today doing some sanding, but it's too low down really to sand. Very, very awkward. You can see, I'll just come down here, there's really not much room, and lying on your back and holding a sander is very, very hard work. Even though it's a little bit cooler under the boat. I mean, I might come tomorrow, if the delivery turns up early, I might come tomorrow and remove these through holes, which is something I've been meaning to do for a long time, especially if there's some heavy rain coming, because that will mean that the engine compartment will just drain out. Now, while I was under the boat today, I found some undressed screws coming through the hull, which I suspect are for the bilge pump and the float switch for the bilge pump. So that's something else I'm going to have to take care of. We just cannot have screw holes like that in the hull, least of all in the engine compartment. It's absolutely insane, completely ridiculous. I'm also considering what we are going to need to remove the outdrives, because they will need to be removed so that we can redo the paint along there and refurbish the poor old outdrives. And we also need to remove the davits. We've removed one screw, big juicy brass one, absolute beauty. So there is lots to do, and it's really at the moment a matter of working out what order to do it in, when we can do it according to the weather and the boat being moved. Just to give you an indication of how hot it actually is today, I did this stuff about 10 minutes ago, and the waxing styrene has definitely done its work, because that's dried hard already. Anyway, that's about it for today, so I will update a little bit more, but I desperately need to go and edit episode 12, so I'll see you all very soon.